What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA Show, and we are having some fun with this channel. We've had some cool growth on Instagram, some cool growth on YouTube. So for everybody who's been following along and joining the show, thank you so much for your support. This has been a blast, and we got some crazy stuff going down this weekend. So many things to talk about. So we're really excited to be here and to do this show. Justin's teammate is actually about to fight in like an hour or less. Francis Ngannou, which is crazy. Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua. And one of the things that I think we talked about on the show is one element that makes fights or breaks them is the stakes, right? Like, is it a good matchup? Is it this? Is it that? But what are the stakes? And here, maybe, Anthony Joshua has been at the top of the sport, but for Francis and for the world at large and for just general competition, the stakes are so high here, especially because Francis really, really can win. I think we didn't believe that before. Now we all know he can. And if he does pull this off, people are saying it might be the greatest athletic achievement of all time. I mean, it's insane. So this is going to be really, really exciting. And he really does have a shot to pull it off. So we're definitely going to be watching that. Justin, do you have any thoughts? Let's actually, before we got so much stuff to talk about. We want to talk about Francis fight. We want to talk about UFC 299, the whole lineup. There's just a million things that are happening. But let's jump right into the first topic. Francis, your teammate, I know we talked about this already, but let's get some thoughts from you, or maybe final thoughts on this fight and this matchup.
Yeah, for sure, man. Just like we talked earlier in the week on Monday, Francis Ngannou's evolution, and I really think that's what's going to really play part in this fight. He's not going to be the same fighter he was when he fought Tyson Fury. With that being said, I think Tyson Fury may have underestimated him. He said he had a great training camp. He said he was focused the whole way, but his performance was very lackluster compared to when he fought Devontae Wilder way back when. So was Francis Ngannou really that good? Or did he take him lightly? I really think Francis, man, he's a special kind of person. He's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. Man, he works his ass off in the gym. He hasn't been really at Extreme Couture getting ready for this. He's went with Dewey Cooper. He's went with Eric. They're in Saudi Arabia, but most of his training camp was done at a straight boxing gym. I'm not even really sure which one. I know he worked with Tyson, leading up for the Mike Tyson, leading up to the Tyson Fury fight. I'm not really sure who he worked with besides Dewey and Eric in this one, but I'm sure it's something great. And, we just got to talk about the levels of the game here. Watching Anthony Joshua on film, you can watch him on film over and over and over and really see what he's about. See what he's, I mean, he might make, small changes fight to fight, but overall you get what you got. For Francis Ngannou, man, that's what's so exciting for me about this matchup is every time he fights, at least for the next couple of years, he's going to be a different and improved fighter. So let's see how much improvement he made since the Tyson Fury fight. I'm really looking forward to this fight.
And look, my thoughts on that. I think some more people have talked about this notion that Tyson Fury did indeed take him a little bit lightly. I saw True Gordy talking about that last night. Even if that's the case, I still don't think it holds much water. I mean, think about it. Even if you go in and you're a professional boxer, the best heavyweight in the world, arguably, or one of them, and you're going in to fight somebody, and even if you take them a little bit lightly, it's not like all your skills just go away. There's something to be said for the fact of how Francis performed regardless. And like we know, we're going to talk about training camps in a second, because when we get to the main event of 299, there's some rumors going around that were started by one of your buddies, Aljo, and so we're gonna talk about that and the effect of a bad training camp on a fight outcome. But anyways, I do think that whatever it was, it doesn't matter. Francis obviously showed he can hang with the best, which that in and of itself is insane. Now, the interesting thing about this fight that I've heard is Anthony Joshua was considered a power puncher, but still not probably the same power and strength as we have with somebody like Francis Ngannou. And the other, so people are saying the matchup's going to be interesting because this might be the first time where people aren't like shy of Anthony Joshua's power. Francis will walk right into it and will keep coming. The other thing is that I don't know. You always know that there's a little bit of element of fear going into a fight, and I think most people, it's got to be there to some degree. I don't think it would ever go away, but I'll put it like this. When I listen to Francis in press conferences and I watch him fight and I watch the way he approaches it, I never can even sense one scintilla of fear in him. He seems like he's just game and ready to go. Do you notice that when you train with him? Is from your interactions with him, is this just a part of Francis that's always there, or does he rely on his training that gives him the confidence? What do you notice from the psychological side?
Well, let's just call a square, a spade, a spade. Francis is the most dangerous human being on the planet, and you know that. I know that. He knows that. Being considered the most dangerous human being on the planet, whether it's in MMA, whether it's in boxing. I mean, how can he not radiate with confidence? I mean, like there's nobody. If you run into Francis Ngannou in the street, there's nobody in the world, in the whole world, that can beat him up. I'm not saying he's the best. I mean, he's a world class boxer because of this toughness. But we're talking about fighting. We're not talking about boxing. Francis. I watched one of his interviews yesterday. Talking to Tyson Fury in the corner.
That's-
He's like, it's a great,
yeah,
it's a great piece. And
it is.
what I'm also with the evolution of Francis is his shit talk game. Dude, the guy's English is getting better. He's speaking more fluent. He's speaking more confident. He told Tyson
Yeah.
Fury the boxing rules are in place to protect him. And he's absolutely right. If it's a street fight, guys, listen, I can step into a boxing ring with some boxers and I can hang and maybe even beat some guys. But I'm not a world-class boxer. I'm a world-class fighter. Any of those boxers want to transition to MMA, I'm going to chop their legs up. I'm going to take them down. I'm going to pull their pants down and fuck them in front of their whole family. Like, that's the kind of confidence I have going against boxers. And now imagine being the most dangerous human being in the world. That kind of confidence. He's taking over into boxing. He's, hey, man, fuck it. This is boxing. Like, this is just a sport. We got rules. These rules are to protect you, man. You want to do MMA, you step over to me, you're going to get fucked up. And I can understand why he has that confidence. And he should have that confidence, man. Again, reiterate, the most dangerous human being in the world, one punch knockout power. Francis has never even been wobbled. Anthony Joshua lost to this Mexican boxer. Man, I'm a big fan of him, but I can't remember his name. But he got knocked out. He took him lightly. He got knocked out. If
Yeah.
Francis Ngannou lands that shot, he's not getting knocked out. He's being sent up into the nosebleed section and might never come back.
Yeah, so I was going to bring up that. I didn't know you saw that. So that was one of the greatest things in the press conference is Francis Ngannou. Tyson was talking some smack. I think Francis got annoyed and he's like, listen, he's like, let me, and he just spoke to him. He's like, let me tell you something. You should consider yourself lucky that the rules of boxing are there to protect you because of, he goes, this is the exact line. And everybody was going nuts, even True Gordy, a bunch of people. The smack talking was unbelievable. He goes, listen, if without these rules, you would be destroyed like that. And he snapped his fingers and it was like, there's no exaggeration. Like that was the beauty of it. He's not even talking smack. You can't call it talking smack. He's just telling the truth. And what I heard too was that shortly after he said that to Tyson Fury left. Like
Because
very shortly after.
because he knows he's put in his place. I mean, Tyson Fury is an incredible boxer, and actually, he's probably my favorite boxer besides Francis Ngannou. And it's like, he's absolutely right. Look at his little skinny twig legs. You think those could absorb a calf kick? Even if he checked one of Francis's kicks, he's gonna blast right through his knee, right through his shin, right through his femur. Like, that's the thing that I don't really like about boxing and boxers. Boxers feel like, oh, it's the sweet science, and oh, dude. That it's boxing is a form of combat, but it's not fighting to me. And when
Yeah.
people say, "Oh,
Agreed.
he's fighting," it's a form of combat, just like Taekwondo is a form of combat, just like kickboxing is a form of combat, but it's not fighting. Boxers are boxers fucking suck in fighting. Boxers are incredible at boxing. Like Floyd Mayweather, bro. Put him against any 120. Put him against Demetrius Johnson. Are you fucking serious? Put him against Jared Brooks, 115-pounder, world champion. Well, in my opinion, he's the world champ. He's a one world champion from the Midwest like me, dude. He just picked this guy up, slammed on his head, knocked him unconscious, broke his neck, and lost the fight. Like, what? This is a fucking street fight. Boxers are great. I think they're great at what they do. They're better at boxing than I am at boxing. But I tell you what, you meet me in the street, you meet Francis Ngannou in the street, you got a whole nother animal on your hands.
All right, I just want to throw out this comment. I think Western Mass Climber was laughing at what you're saying about taking out a boxer. That was very funny.
It's true. It's time and time again.
And
it wouldn't even be a fight.
This is also true too. And I mean, it's pretty obvious. Yeah. And I think Floyd was even supposedly entertaining the idea of coming into the MMA world and fighting Conor, but then I think he thought better of it. And yeah, like I mean, yeah, I'm sure it'd be terrifying for him and it probably would get hurt. So, all right. Well, that's the Francis fight. Like I said, guys, it's if you haven't bought the fight yet, it's about to go down. I did pay for it. It's $40. So it's cheaper than a typical UFC pay-per-view if that does pique your interest. But I mean, this is history. You got to watch it. I have to watch this. Like I said, as soon as we get off this, I'm going to be watching it. I cannot wait. Okay. Now we get into UFC 299 final predictions for the main card. Holy smokes. So, dude, I have so much I want to talk to you about because I've been watching everything on the fight build up, the talking. I will say this. The press conference yesterday was pretty terrible. And I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but it was really just, there was nothing to it. Like, there was no smack talk between Sugar and Sean O'Malley and Cheeto Vera. And I thought there was going to be some. They barely talked to, Piotr Jan and Song Yadong. They both learned English, and that was really cool. I love that. I love when fighters take the time to. You can't hear me? You can't hear me? Okay. All right. So Justin's jumping back on, but I want to say I love when you have these fighters that they learn English and then they try and communicate. And I'm not saying they need to, and I'm not saying it's a requirement by any means, but when they do go out of their way and learn English and then try to communicate with native English speakers like myself, I just think it makes the press conference so much more fun. The way that they do the translations, it does kind of put a damper on hearing what they have to say because the translators take time. You have to wait to hear.
I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry, but I do want to tell you before.
Tell me.
So every time someone calls me, no one ever calls me, right?
Yeah.
Well, he just texted me, so that's why took a second. One promotion just called me. One is an Asian promotion, said, "Hey, I got your contact through Jared Brooks, who I just mentioned 3 seconds ago."
Yeah.
That's fucking insane. And he's like, "I'd like to talk to you some more." And I was like, "Oh
Whoa.
shit." So this could be a really big thing. I mean, the irony of it is, 3 minutes ago I just mentioned Jared Brooks beating Floyd Mayweather, and then Fernando from One just says, "Hey, I got your info through Jared Brooks. Hit me up when you have a second." So this could be a good thing.
Wow, you might be having a fight in one championship.
Bop, 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 bop,
bop. Amazing. Oh, wait. I can't hear you again. Did something happen? All right, shoot. You might have to jump back on and jump back, or jump off and jump back on. Okay, so Justin's going to rejoin us. So anyways, it was a really cool press conference. So I want to jump in right off the bat, and I want to talk about this Piotr Jan versus Song Yadong fight, which is an amazing fight. Yeah, and we got Western Mass Climber. Yeah. Justin going to Japan. Heck yeah, that'd be so fun. I gotta go. If he's gonna go, I gotta go. Let me tell Justin. So yeah, Western Mass Climber's like, "Oh, you're going to Japan." I was like, "Yo, if you're going, I gotta go."
You're going for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I have to go.
I'll give you my corner pass. Come on, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh my god, that'd be sick. All right. So, anyways, let's talk about this first fight. Song Yadong. This is a banger of a card. Like, this card is so insane. People don't realize. Piotr Jan versus Song Yadong on the first fight of the main event. So for those of you guys who don't know, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Piotr Jan, the former champion of the bantamweight division. So here, Piotr Jan is coming back and he's fighting Song Yadong. But for those of you guys who aren't familiar with Song Yadong, he trains with Team Alpha Male. Probably know who Team Alpha Male is, but he's a pretty amazing fighter. His last fight he won against Chris Gutierrez. It was a unanimous decision. The only his most recent loss, he's gone 5-1 for his last 6 fights. He lost to Corey Sandhagen, but that was a doctor stoppage. Okay. And every other fight he's won, Ricky Simone, Marlon Moraes, big name. Some of these other names, maybe not as known, but he's a beast. He's a beast, and he's brimming with confidence. He's just, I love that confidence. I know maybe I make too much of it because I'm really into the psychological game, but I'm really interested to see this fight. And hey, both fighters are incredible. Justin, do you have a thought on who you favor in this matchup, Song Yadong versus Piotr Jan?
Being a Piotr Jan fan, like, dude, we went from the top of the top and then just, starts losing fights and just, it's crazy because you get certain fighters that it's like, man, I'll be honest, like with Conor McGregor on his uprise, with Sean O'Malley on his uprise, it's like these guys have all these hype, but they keep getting fed cans. Then you got Piotr Jan, who's taking on the toughest guys in the world and winning, and then loses a decision to Sean O'Malley. He loses, a couple fights in a row, man, and it's hard not to support my guy Peter, dude, because he's such an awesome and dynamic fighter. Aljamain Sterling, the knee. Ever since that he hit Aljo with the knee, it's just unfortunately been downhill for Peter Yan. So when we talk about the mentality of a fighter, It's when you start losing and fighting. And again, guys, I'm speaking from experience. I'm not some idiot podcaster out here that's trying to tell fighters how to feel without ever being in that situation. I'm speaking from experience. When you start losing, especially at the high level, losing becomes easier and easier and easier, man. And, I'm not really sure where Peter Yan's head's at right now. This is an incredible opportunity for Song Yadong. Man, my heart wants Peter Yan to get back on the winning track. This guy's a fucking savage killer. But my pocketbook says Song Yadong.
So, in just to remind you guys, when one of Piotr Jan's recent losses was to Sean O'Malley, and remember, a lot of people thought he beat Sean O'Malley. Regardless of what the outcome was, it was a very close fight. So it wasn't a bad loss by any means. They went the distance. He looked great in the fight. So just bear that in mind. And then he fought Merab. Merab is just, I think we're all recognizing now, like Merab is an animal. You know, his cardio is just, he weaponizes it so brilliantly. So I mean, like, what are you going to do? And then he lost to the champ Aljo, right? So he's still right there, right in the mix. Now, Song Yadong, just one interesting fact. Did you know he's only 26?
Jeez, man, so young. These class of up and coming guys are just so young and so good, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Song Yadong as well. That's my pick. We got to keep score, and I know we keep saying that, so I'm gonna put together the scoreboard this weekend, and then we're gonna start keeping track.
And we'll just do the main card. We won't even do the undercard, just the main fights.
Yeah, just the main card. So I think we're in agreement there. So it's a bit of a wash. But now we go to a really, really sick fight: Gilbert Burns versus Jack Maddalena. Now, before we jump in, because we've talked about this, and I'm really kind of leaning towards Gilbert Burns, but I want to show you something because I know you say not to pay too much attention to the weigh-ins. But let me show you something, okay? And guys, give us your thoughts in the comment section as well on this weigh-in because I was watching this before we started. So we're going to go ahead. Piotr Yan, he looked pretty good. By the way, side note, why does anybody ever try to make like 135 when you can make 136 and still qualify? I don't get that. But anyways, okay, I want you to look at Gilbert Burns because he did not look good to me here.
171, the official weight for Gilbert Burns.
Okay, so he looks super sucked. Now, again, I'm not the expert. I just want to bring this to your attention. He looks super sucked into me. He did make 171 instead of 170, but he has that allowance. He has the 1 pound allowance. Does that tell you anything, or is that that doesn't even enter your mind in terms of the calculus of like predicting the fight?
Nah, not really. I mean, now, if he got up on stage and was like stumbling from dehydration, if he was dizzy, sure. But honestly, man, when you're at the apex, like he's already like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but everybody has a hard weight cut, man, at the high level, man. Like, I remember when I made 145 the first time, dude, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I was crying during the weight cut. I couldn't sweat. Like, it's just a mental fuck. It's the fight before the fight, man. It's actually a harder fight than the actual fight. Gilbert Burns has fought in the UFC 20 times. He's made weight almost every time, if not every time. I'm not going to say he hasn't if he hasn't. So he's probably made weight every time. He's been through this. He knows the feeling. He knows the process. And not to mention, as soon as you step on the scale and then you step off the scale, they have a hydrationist. I don't know if that's the right term, but hydrationist and nutritionist there. All right, hey, drink this water. You have to drink this over for the next 5 minutes. All right, hey, once you're done with that, now drink this. Now drink this. Now eat this. So his recovery is being, put together by nutritionists, hydrationists, doctors. Like, he's going to be fine. The weight cut, like I said, he didn't even have to be nude for the weight cut. So that tells you something.
That's true. That's true. You're right. Okay, we're going to talk about that because somebody did later in the show. I'm going to show you guys, or later in the weigh-ins. I'm going to show you guys that later. But last thing I want to say on this fight, I'm actually still, regardless of looking at the weight cut and everything, I'm still picking Gilbert Burns here. Curious to get your thoughts. One of the reasons why he talked about it in one of the interviews. So what he says is he's like, and he wasn't even trying to talk smack, but he's like, if I was Jack Maddalena, okay, he's like, he's taking a big step up. Instead, normally, he's like, what I would do is go step by step, hey, a little harder, little harder, little harder. But he's like, he's jumping right into the mix, jumping to the top of the division. And he said it very matter-of-factly. That, to me, told me that Gilbert Burns feels like he outmatches Jack Maddalena at this point, in his mind at least anyways. What are your thoughts on that, on sort of me reading into that, or am I overreading into that? And then I want to get your final prediction as well.
No, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, Gilbert Burns has fought the who's who. He's fought the best in the division. He's fought for the championship. He's fought Hamzat, on short notice. fought Usman, or who was the last guy he fought that it was a short, was it Usman?
No, it was what's his name? Bilal, but he lost.
Bilal, yeah, he fought. Yeah, he fought Bilal. He lost. He's fighting the best fighters in the world. Some people, say Bilal's the best. The guy that hasn't had a championship fight yet. Fought him on short notice. Still went to decision. Gilbert Burns is a different kind of animal, man. His skill set. I mean, I've trained with him, dude. The guy is a fucking savage. He's one of the best grappling MMA fighters I've ever had the privilege of training with. Jack, on the other hand, he's up and coming. He's red hot. But Gilbert Burns can put that flame out really quick, man. I mean, look at the Hamzat fight, man. What an incredible fight. Hamzat, I felt had the significant size advantage. And Gilbert, when he even said, in the hallways, like, oh, bro, you small, you small. Yeah, well, Gilbert fucking came out like the Tasmanian devil and, a small guy and just fucking put an ass whooping. Put an ass whooping on Hamzat worse than anybody ever has. I know he lost ultimately, and I did think he lost that fight. But still, just because you lose doesn't mean you didn't whip somebody's ass, man. He got his ass whipped. He whipped Hamzat's ass. I think Jack is taking a huge step up in competition. Hey, risk reward. I mean, he's supposed to lose this fight. So we talk about risk reward. He has almost no risk. He's going to be a big underdog, I think, in this fight. And if
I'm
he
sure.
beats him, he's going to be put right into the top 5. So I think this is a ballsy and great move for Jack Maddalena.
Yeah. And also, I was just looking back at his record. Hold on, I'm looking up the odds right now. I was just looking back at Jack's record. The last victory was a split decision against Kevin Holland. I love Kevin Holland, by the way, but he's a bit more, he's less multi-dimensional, let me put it that way, than a fighter like Gilbert Burns. So I don't know how that weighs into the calculus again of what's going to happen. But I do think that I'm in agreement with you. Gilbert Burns, the only concern is I'm just hoping whatever was wrong with his arm last time if you remember, when he fought Bilal, he was basically fighting with one arm, which was insane and amazing that he still finished that fight. But yeah, just hoping whatever happened there worked out. And wait a minute, what? To win outright, Burns is a plus 130. Okay.
Time to stack up.
Yeah. Yeah. Holy smokes. I wish I could put money on this fight, but all right, there we go. So those are the odds. Those are our thoughts. I think we're both in agreement. Gilbert Burns. Now we move on to Kevin Holland, who Kevin Holland did take the loss. All right, you're going to jump off again. So Kevin Holland did have that last loss against Jack Maddalena, but now he's back against Michael Venom Page. So this is a pretty interesting fight. In the presser, if you listen to Kevin Holland, what does he say? He's like, yeah, Michael Venom Page, he's a great fighter in Bellator. But he's like, there's a reason why people pay to watch UFC fights and not Bellator fights. So he's basically talking about the level of competition and the difference in the level of competition between the UFC and Bellator. He's feeling strongly that he's going to beat Michael Venom Page. I got to say, I'm actually in agreement. I do think that Kevin Holland is going to have a substantial advantage against Michael Venom Page. Before we jump in to why, I'm going to give you my reason as to why I'm definitely very much picking Kevin Holland in this fight to beat Michael Venom Page. But before we do that, I want to turn it over to you, Justin. Well, you've talked a lot about PFL, Bellator, and the UFC. And I know you've said in the past that you feel like the way that people say that, hey, UFC is so superior in terms of the fighting skill and ability of the fighters compared to other organizations. I don't think you always agree with that. So I want to watch some highlights of Michael Venom Page in Bellator and really look closely at his opponents because he pulls off amazing things, but I'm not sure the competition is the same. But before we even look at that, this Bellator versus UFC matchup, which essentially this is, do you feel like Michael Venom Page, despite his record, is really outmatched because Kevin Holland has been facing that much tougher competition, or do you feel like that's overhype?
It's tough to say because, Michael Page is a superstar athlete, man. He jumps, he spins, he's long, he has great distance. I mean, this fight is his first true fight. Now, what I feel Michael Page was doing in Bellator and what Bellator was doing for him is taking his athleticism and running with it. And what I mean by that is they were building a star. They were setting him in situations to where he could get these great highlight reel knockouts, flying knees, spinning back kicks. Like you look at some of it, like when he fought Cyborg. I'm trying to think what his name is. Is it Cyborg? It's regardless. I mean, super tough guy, but he's old, man. He's kind of washed up where he hit him in the knee. He hit the flying knee and broke his skull. And his other opponents, I mean, who else has he fought? The only other notable fighter that I feel he's fought is Mike Perry and Mike in bare knuckle and Mike Perry,
Yeah.
took it to him. So, again, I feel that he was groomed because of his athleticism, and I think he's in a real fight against Kevin Holland. I do give the advantage to Kevin Holland because he's been in the dirt. See, that's the thing, man. When you're a front runner in MMA, and you're winning and winning, like winning is like, fuck, this is great, man. I'm fucking cruising, knocking everybody out. This is fucking great. Well, now you have somebody that has been beaten up a couple times and doesn't get put away like Kevin Holland. Again, taking on these tougher fights, he's been hit harder. He's been, he's fought more precise strikers. He's fought better grapplers. He's fought better wrestlers. He's fought better fighters overall. Now, that's not to knock on Michael Page's skill set. Maybe when he comes out here, he's going to stun the world and finally have a real test and capitalize on it. That'd be great. But again, Kevin Holland, I think, is going to be too tough. I think he's been around long enough. He doesn't talk like he used to. Early on in his career, he's a big talker in the cage. I think he's matured as a person. He's matured as a fighter. And I think he's going to be a great guy to welcome Michael Venom Page into the UFC.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be a really fun fight. I want to show you some of these highlights. So I just pulled them up for everybody. We're just going to watch a little bit of this clip. But, he does pull off some amazing wins and he has amazing highlights. But to me, it just doesn't seem like the same level of caliber in terms of his opponents. But you be the judge. You're better than me here.
Okay, pause. Who's that guy? Oh, that's who's that guy?
Okay, let me see. That's not Michael Chandler, is it? Hold on. No. Okay, let's see.
The point I'm trying to make is you don't know, I don't know who's the guy.
Yeah,
that's the point. Now you do a Kevin Holland highlight. You're gonna know every guy he's fought.
Exactly. Okay, now let's take a look at some of these other ones. I mean, he's got great showmanship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what? I don't. Okay, I know I'm being a little judgmental, but what's up with that guy? Was coming in like slow motion. Okay, here let's watch a little more. Can you tell much from this? Does that look like what did you think of that?
I mean, he landed one long overhand shot. I mean,
Yeah.
it's again, now a lot of times, now this is a theory, and I was talking, and I'm not going to say any promotions directly, but I will say some promotions have an A list and a B list. Michael Page is an A-list fighter, so they match him up against one of the B-list guys. They bring these guys in to get highlighted. They pay him a great amount of money to make it worth their while. But look at this guy. And that's a decision. He won decision there. The guy looked like a sloppy mess. Look at this guy's afraid. What is that?
See, this is what I was feeling. Okay, so I'm feeling vindicated right now because I was watching these highlights the other day, and I'm like, this doesn't look right. This doesn't look the same. He's getting these great knockouts, but and the other reason why I wanted to do that was because Kevin Holland said that. He's like, look at the timing and the footwork of the opponents that he was knocking out. Now you come against somebody here, that stuff's not going to work. He said something like that. So I just feel like if I was in a state where you could bet on these fights, I would just put the house on Kevin Holland. I just really think.
What are the odds?
Let me look right now. I'll double check. It's going to be a fun fight, though, I got to say. But
I can't wait, and he's so dynamic, and Page is going to come out and do some crazy shit. If he catches Holland, I mean, he's going to sweep.
Yeah, it's minus 140 Kevin Holland. So it's a slight favorite, not a major favorite. I don't know. I think I'm
going to parlay Burns and Holland together.
Okay. I like that. That's a pretty solid parlay. That's pretty solid. Okay. Amazing fights. These are just two fights into the main card. Now we get to look at this fight. Oh no, that was 3 fights in. Look at this fight. This is insane. Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis. Now, before we talk about this, again, I want to show you the weigh-in because Benoit Saint Denis did not look good on the weigh-in, and there's something else that I wanted to talk to you about as well in this fight that's very interesting. There's a rumor going around. About Benoit Saint Denis and a potential staph infection. So I want to talk to you about that too, because I don't know if it's true, but I want to know how it might impact the fight. People are saying it might impact his cardio. Okay, so look, we're going to fast forward up to here's Dustin Poirier clearly wasn't worried about making weight with those big sunglasses. Okay, look, here's Benoit Saint Denis. So check this out. All right, so look, so you notice there's a cut on his forehead. That's where people are saying the staph infection occurred, which is on the other side. You could see it when he was walking up. The other reason why people are concerned is that he was wearing a hat at the presser, theoretically to cover up that cut, maybe because it was a staph infection. But anyways, here, check this out. I don't know, man. He did weigh in at I think he weighed in at 156. I can't remember. I don't know. He doesn't look. Does that look normal to you, or am I making a mountain out of a molehill here?
I think you're digging. I think you're digging and picking for scraps here, man. I think he looks great. I I understand that, you know, and honestly, sometimes your analysis of a weigh-in can be good.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just, dude, they have such great nutritionists on staff that are gonna, even if he did feel like shit, he doesn't look that bad. And they're gonna make sure that they're gonna do the best of their ability to make sure he's ready for tomorrow, man. This guy's a killer. And you know, me being a Dustin Poirier fan, again, man, dude, it's so sad because every week we watch our guys that we've been growing up with in the sport for the last several years. You look at like Conor McGregor, you look at Habib, you look at fucking Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Volkanovski, man. Unfortunately, these guys' time is coming to an end really soon. So, you know, my heart says Poirier, but my pocketbook says Saint Denis, man. It fucking really sucks, man. I hate these guys going out on their shield like this. But you know, Dustin's recovering from a nasty knockout from Gaethje last. You know, Benoit's a finisher. You know, fuck, man. I want Poirier to win so bad, but Saint Denis is a fucking animal. He hasn't, and his brain is fresh, man. He hasn't been knocked out. He doesn't have that worry in his mind yet. And you know, Dustin Poirier may. So we'll see what happens.
All right. So are you going with Benoit?
I'm going with Benoit here.
You know, normally I would pick Dustin Poirier because I do pick with the guy that I really like, and I love Dustin Poirier. He's one of my favorite fighters. Yeah, although Dustin Poirier's confidence does seem high, but I think I'm going to try and start being more smart too about my picks. I'm going to go with BSD2. Makes it less exciting because I think we're aligned on all our picks so far, but I just feel like I agree with you too strongly. Okay, now we're going to go to the main event. Couple things I want to talk to you about on this main event. So number one, you talk about the weigh-in, right? You talk about, hey, you didn't have to strip down. Marlon Vera did have to strip down. He made the weight, and he cheered so loudly when, here, I'm going to show you so you guys can see what happened.
Keep in mind, he has to make the official weight. He does not.
He does. That's true. That's true. Championship, you have to make championship weight. But look at this. So this is what happened.
That your UFC bantamweight.
Oh, wait, hold on. So here it is.
135.
135.
I mean, so he's so excited. He's elated. That it must have been a really bad, like I imagine a really bad weight cut, a really tough weight cut. So he's elated. He made it. Now, on top of this, there's something else. Aljo went on a podcast and said that he heard through the grapevine that Chito Vera had a bad camp, meaning he was getting beat up. He was whatever. It was a rough camp. They asked Chito about it, and Chito was not happy that Aljo said that, and he said some not nice things about Aljo, but he didn't deny it. He was like, yeah, I had a rough camp, big deal. You know, he's like, I made it through, and if he thinks that's going to help him out, you know, he's sorely mistaken, blah, blah, blah. I know we were kind of already favoring Sean O'Malley. What do you make of this? What do you make of the fact that basically he did have a bad camp and he did have a tough weight cut?
You know, some people can use that as fire, though. I got my ass whooped every day for this moment. I got my fucking in the tub for this moment. Take all that negative energy, all those beatings he took in practice, all those times that he had to tap out, you know, all that man, like all that weight cut. A lot of guys can harness that and be like, for me, for instance, when I'm training, dude, I get beat up every fucking day, whether I'm sparring, whether I'm wrestling or grappling. That's why I stay at Extreme Couture, because I have guys. If you're a front run, if you have a great camp, nobody ever has a great camp. I mean, camp fucking sucks. You're getting punched in the face. You're getting hurt. You're sore. You fucking have to do all this extra work. Like, so when people say, oh, was it a good camp or a bad camp? Dude, they all fucking suck. And anybody that says otherwise, I mean, some are better than others. And that's what I guess is a good camp, you know? But at the end of the day, Cheeto's a mentally tough dude. You know, but looking at the odds this morning, I saw a knockout by Sean O'Malley at plus 180.
Whew.
I mean, what is Sean going to submit him? No. Is he going to take him down? No. He's either going to win by a decision or he's going to knock him out. I think the positive line is Sean O'Malley by knockout here.
Yeah, this is crazy. And also what's very interesting about that prediction is Cheeto's never been knocked out. He's never been finished. So that's wild. And I think Sean is hoping to pull off that knockout. And the odds right now, wow. Sean O'Malley to straight win, he's minus 280. That's crazy. That's a big, I don't know about that.
So
but that's
so with that line, again, I think Sean's going to win. Obviously, he's a huge favorite. He's almost a 3-1 favorite on the line, but the money is with Marlon, because I mean, if it's at plus 280, it's probably like plus 240 for Marlon Vera, and like plus 230. Like, Dude, there's some money to be made there. You know, $500 on a $200 bet. We're talking about a guy that has already beat him, and people are like, oh, well, he was injured when he beat him. I don't give a fuck. Like he. It's hard to fight somebody as gritty as Marlon Vera, and he's tough. He's going to be in great shape. He's never been finished. I think the my pocketbook goes with Marlon Vera, but I think Sean O'Malley is going to win this fight.
Yeah,
If is that like an oxymoron? Like my
no.
pocketbook says Marlon, but I think Sean O'Malley's going to. Does that make sense when I say
Yeah,
that?
it makes sense because you think the odds are misaligned. So yeah, like you do think he's favored, but there's always a chance that anybody can win. So no, I get it. I get it. You're saying
Now,
the money.
if it was like if he was like plus 150, I would take Sean O'Malley all day. But to bet almost $300 to win 100 on Sean O'Malley isn't worth it when I can bet 200 on fuck. I mean, Sean O'Malley, Cheeto's probably going to chop off that front leg, man. He's going to chop his legs up like he did the first time. If he gets the fight to the ground, I mean, I think that Sean is going to be a fish out of water. So at plus 230, plus 240, and I bet by fight time it'll be even a little bit more. I think the value's there to win.
Cool. Before we go on to the next topic, Western Mass Climber says, didn't Holland KO Jacare, I think it's Souza, right from his back? And yeah, I think he elbowed him or knocked him out or something.
It was he came out with a hammer fist and clipped him across the chin.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. So, all right. This is your UFC 299 main event. Guys, if you're joining and if you're still live, thank you so much for the support. We see people on right now. If you could give this video a like, we really appreciate it. And definitely give us some comments. We'd be happy to chat with you guys. As the audience is growing, it's real easy for us to communicate with you guys. So, and it's a lot of fun. You guys got Justin Janes here, Extreme Couture member, right? Teammate of Francis Ngannou. So you guys got questions. That fight's coming up soon. So now's your time.
It might be going right now. Shit.
I don't think just yet, but it's pretty soon. It's pretty soon. I'm going to jump off as soon as it starts. I'm not going to lie. Okay, so now we got some other news, and Justin did a video yesterday about it. It's been getting a lot of views, actually. But we're going to talk about this fight that just got announced, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. There's some people that have been talking smack about it, namely Michael Bisping, who just, he says he's not a hater, but he just doesn't seem to like Jake Paul. I think I have a different standpoint, and so does Justin. Some people have been saying on your video on IG, hey, called us stupid, I guess, and said that this is clearly a money grab. I mean, well, aren't all these fights meant to be money grabs?
Yeah, they're all money grabs, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's like what a good fight is. But I mean, to me, you made such a good point. You're like, hey, this is so nostalgic. So many of us, I did grow up because I'm older than you by 10 years, but I did grow up with Mike Tyson being basically the most famous athlete in the world. But I wasn't into boxing then, but everybody knew him. I had Mike Tyson's Punch Out and Nintendo. Mike Tyson was like bigger than life. So this is exciting for me, man. Like now I've gotten into combat sports and now we're kind of bringing him back. And yeah, he's 58. I don't know what it's like to be 58 and trying to have a fight, but he looks terrifying on the pads. He's a straight up heavyweight. People are giving Jake crap for it, but this is an exciting fight. I don't care what people say. I want to see it. And it is meaningful if he knocks out Mike Tyson, regardless of the age difference. I'm fascinated by it. I think it's amazing. Justin, give us your thoughts again.
Just the nostalgia of the fight is just incredible, man. Like I said in the video, I never got the pleasure to see Mike Tyson fight live, man. And I know he's not in his prime; he's almost 60 years old. But dude, just the build up and watching this legend, like one of the greatest of all time, to be able to do it and to make the walk. I mean, as a fighter, remember the fight isn't just in the ring; it's not just in the cage; it's in the back room warming up. It's on the walkout. The most stressful part for me is sitting in the back room waiting for my number to get called. Then you got to walk 100 yards out there, and the fans are booing you. They're cheering for you. Like, this is what I want to see from Mike Tyson. I want to see him relive his glory days. I want to see how happy and excited he's going to be on his walkout, man. This guy has given so much to the sport that he deserves this payday, man. And, I know him and Jake are buddies, so I'm sure there's going to be some rules that are going to be like no knockouts and shit like that. I'm sure it's just going to be a glorified sparring session because, I mean, Jake Paul, he's a smart guy. Him going in there and starching Mike Tyson makes him look really bad. You beat up a 60-year-old guy that, is looking for a payday. Like, I think it's just going to be a glorified sparring match. I don't think either of the guys are going to get hurt too bad. Like I said, I feel it might even be a little choreographed, to be honest. Now, knowing how Mike Tyson's such a killer, I wouldn't be surprised if I see some whoop to the body, then come up left hook up top. That would just be fucking awesome. But again, guys, it's a free fight on Netflix, man. They're not fighting for a world championship. It's probably an exhibition match. I'm sure they're gonna have special rules in the contract. Like, guys got to stop taking this fight like this. Oh, Jake Paul, Mike Bisping. I'll tell you what, and I'll say this to Mike Bisping's face. It's like I think he's jealous, and this is why I think he's jealous, because Michael has done so much in the sport of MMA. He was the UFC champion. He fought George St. Pierre. He beat Anderson Silva, and he's not getting these $20 million payouts after it now that he's retired. He sees somebody like Jake Paul, who's fought a couple tough guys that were out of their prime, some guys that were smaller than him and out of their prime. And I honestly think he's speaking just from a jealousy standpoint, because again, he feels he's done 10 times more for combat sports than Jake Paul has, and he doesn't get these paydays right now. So I can relate to Bisping. I can relate to why he'd be upset. I definitely would be. And fuck, I'm definitely am, man. I've put my whole life into this, and I never even got half or a quarter or a tenth of what Michael Bisping has done, and I'm jealous of the guy. So I understand what he's saying, but take this fight. It is what it is, man. Enjoy watching Tyson do his thing. Appreciate him, man. Appreciate everything he's done for the sport of boxing, for combat sport. We get to watch him make the walk again, and even if it is just a glorified sparring match, I'm excited about it.
Now, the only thing I'm going to disagree with you on, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, I don't want to be right, is that notion of the fight being somewhat choreographed, because I feel like that's just going to be a problem. That's technically illegal, right? That's a violation of the commission rule. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I don't even want that thought to enter my mind, because I want to see it. By the way, but oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, when I say choreographed, I don't mean like WWE scripted. Let me think. Choreographed isn't the right word. It's just when you can't knock, like, hey, you and I are gonna fight, Uzefa, but you can't knock me out and I can't knock you out. So guess what? My game plan changes. Your game plan changes. We need to pull punches. So when I say choreographed, I don't mean, hey, you throw a jab, I throw an overhand, or I don't mean like a dance. I mean like their technique is gonna change. And again, I think the first fight with Tyrone Woodley and Jake Paul, like there was in the rules that they weren't allowed to knock each other out. And I don't really understand how you can do that. But I mean, these guys are the pros, man. So these guys are, the boxing pros. And I don't, dude, if I'm in a fucking fight, I'm trying to kill somebody. Oh yeah, you can't knock them out. Like, the fuck is that stupid shit? Can you imagine Mike Tyson knocking Jake Paul out cold and declaring Jake Paul the winner by disqualification? Like, what? Like,
That'd be
what is
crazy.
this world coming to? And unfortunately, I hope that, that both these guys go in there, and, if anybody gets hurt, I hope it's Jake Paul. Mike Tyson's 60 years old, man. He doesn't need to take this brain trauma. But again, I reiterate, I did say choreographed, but I meant more like pulling your punches in a sense.
Fair enough. I even hope that that's not the case, that there's no clause of like, hey, that has to be modified this way and that way. I want to see an all-out fight. I think this is exciting. I think Mike Tyson is still super dangerous. And I, again, always go back, people want to talk smack about Jake Paul. I think about Jake Paul as if it were me or a common person, not like a trained fighter that has been fighting his entire life like you, right? Like somebody like me going in. You think I would be sitting up here volunteering to fight Mike Tyson, even if he was 65? No way. That's terrifying. That's
I would 100%.
Yeah,
done.
you would.
Nobody Chuck Liddell, George St. Pierre, fucking Francis Ngannou. You sign me up, I'll show up and take my ass whooping like a man.
Yeah, fair enough. But there's a different mentality. So I'm just trying to let people know, and Mike Bisping, you're a fighter, you're a professional fighter, and I get your perspective. It's 100% valid from your perspective. But like, I look at Jake Paul like me, like the everyman. And it's just, I think it's incredible what he's doing. And I give him a lot of props. Want to see this. And I do want to go back to that notion. This is going to be on Netflix. Dude, this has never happened. This is revolutionary. It's free. If you're subscribed to Netflix, anybody can watch it. I mean, this is crazy. Imagine how many people are going to watch this thing. I love it. I love it all the way around. I think it's ingenious from a business standpoint. I think it's exciting, and I think it's a good pick. So let's see what happens. That's coming up in a few months. I can't remember. But anyways, okay. The last thing I want to talk about, this is a little bit of kind of like gossipy stuff, which we normally don't go towards on this channel, but everybody's been talking about it. So I figured we could touch on it. Ryan Garcia's mental state and his fight promotion. Because the one thing I'll say is people have been quite worried about him. I'm going to show some of his tweets up here in a second, but people have been quite worried about him. But whatever you want to say, man, it's gotten a lot of attention for the fight for him versus Devin Haney. And again, I'm not a boxing guy. You're not a boxing guy, but it's been kind of a weird, like it's worked somehow with the promotion. So anyways, let's just go through some of these tweets, and then I want to turn over to you and get your thoughts on how you think this is going to change things. So we look right here. I will tell some of the names, DM me, and he's talking about, he started going into conspiracy stuff, talking about, I think, Jeffrey Epstein's island. Before I go, talking about, I guess, dying, I want to release everything spiritually. I'm in a battle and I'm winning. And I'm sorry, my tweets aren't written properly. I'm being heavily attacked. The demons can morph into creatures, animals, people, aliens, any bung, reptilians. Okay, so some typos there. Another one, attention to those who sold their soul. There is a way back. You can't sell your soul. Your soul belongs to God. So it wasn't yours to sell anyway. You didn't read the contract, just signed, probably didn't care. Ryan Garcia will not be speaking or tweeting or writing anything. Okay, now he's saying like he's going to get serious about the fight. So he's not going to be sending any more of these tweets. Let's see if we can get some other ones. Gervonta December. Okay, now these are just like more normal. But anyways, so we've had some interesting tweets, maybe a bit of a mental break. People are saying maybe narcotics are involved. We don't know. That's speculation. Justin, leading up to a fight, having what seems to be some sort of a mental break. A lot of people are worried about him. I think even at one time he was saying his phone was taken, his possessions and assets were frozen. Now he's going in. Now he's going to go fight. I mean, what do you think that this does to his chances? Does it make him more dangerous? Does this compromise him? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to make it real simple here. So I did see Ryan Garcia say that somebody hacked his accounts and somebody else was posting all this outlandish stuff. But I'll even make it more simple than that. To me, it sounds like the guy ate a bunch of mushrooms or LSD. And dude, I mean, to talk about the ghosts and demons and figures forming and this and that, all that is to me, and I'm sure you can agree from our our past experiences, just sounds like he had a crazy trip on some hallucinogens, and and that's it, man. It's like, it's the things. I think he's projecting what is going on in his head when he's high on mushrooms or LSD. And a lot of fighters, or maybe even ayahuasca, a lot of fighters, or you look at arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Aaron Rodgers, before he goes into a season, he goes on this ayahuasca trip and he finds these things. Well, maybe he had the same idea, but unfortunately for him, he had his phone on him or his laptop was next to him, and he could write stuff about it. Personally, all us fighters have our own demons, and a lot of times, a lot of fighters will look for drugs, to relieve some of the pain, but also a lot of fighters will look to hallucinogenics, and I know a lot, countless, because we get put in spots to where we don't know what to do. And I can ask you, I can ask my coach, I can ask anybody their opinion, but everyone's going to be different. Their opinions are all going to be different depending on where you're at. I had a friend of mine just call me the other day and told me, like, you need to stop trying to get to the UFC. You need to move on. Then I talked to my coach. He's like, hey, you're only a couple fights. It's like, man, everyone has their different opinions. So what happens a lot is guys will go into nature or go home, and they take a heavy amount because they want to go deep into their thought process, deep into their brain, and see what their body and mental state really is like. And to me, it just sounds like he did that, man. I wouldn't be worried about him, dude. The guy's a fucking phenom. He's just an incredible boxer. I mean, he has incredible work ethic to get to where he's at. I'm not worried about him. Now, if it continues to happen over and over, and again, who am I to worry about this guy? He's not my family. He's not my friend. Like, I don't give a fuck about him. Who should be worried about him are his friends, his family, or his coaches, and they should know. And I think everyone else just, let the guy do his thing. He's one of the best in the world for a reason. And guys like us that aren't, need to take a back seat on this and let him do his thing.
That is actually an amazing take. Haven't heard anybody say that. That's very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if you were exactly right on that take. But anyways, the positive out of all of this, whatever you want to say, there's a lot of hype for the fight. People are amped up. People are going to watch. I'm going to watch now probably too, just to see what happens. And that's it. We just got a couple of comments I want to share here, and then we're going to call it a day for the show because we got some crazy stuff happening. And I need to jump off to watch the Francis fight. If you guys haven't bought it yet, it's only $40. It's not bad. So, all right. Noro said he missed the $2.99 prediction. So I'll just run it through for you really quickly. I picked Song. Wait, who did you pick? Petr Yan or Song Yadong?
I'm taking Petr Yan.
Okay, so I'm taking Song Yadong. That's our only difference. I'm taking Song Yadong, 26-year-old up-and-comer, training out of Team Alpha Male. Then we got Kevin Holland. We both picked Kevin Holland over Michael Venom Page. We're taking Benoit Saint Denis, sadly, over Dustin Poirier. And we got Gilbert Burns. We're both picking Gilbert to win, and Sean O'Malley. We're both taking Sean O'Malley over Cheeto Vera. So that's the rundown. And then, we also had some other questions here that I'm going to throw up here. Didn't Mike Tyson have a fight a couple years ago? Yeah, he fought. Actually, that was the first time.
Roy Jones, right?
What's that?
He fought Roy Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Roy Jones Jr. And I think there was no winner. They didn't have a winner.
I think it was just an exhibition.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's when Jake Paul knocked out Nate Robinson. So they were on the same card. I mean, imagine that. Jake Paul is fighting Nate Robinson. Now he's going to fight with Tyson. That's so wild. So yeah, Noriego, there you go. He's asked this. We'll leave that to your imagination. I don't know. And then you're welcome. Boom. Watching you on TV tonight. You look bigger. Celine Fail, maybe watching something of you on TV, Justin? I don't know.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, anyway, Celine, thank you so much for joining. I think this is the first time I've seen a comment from you. So awesome. Thank you for being here. And that's it. All right, guys. That is it for our Friday show. This was a blast. Like I said, we got an amazing weekend of fights. So thank you guys so much for joining. And we will see you on Monday for the recap of this weekend. Let's wish Francis Ngannou the best of luck. Let's make history. All right, guys. See you next video. Take it easy.